The story kicks off with Cloud waking up from a total nightmare, and honestly, the vibes are already off. He is stranded without a roof over his head and is absolutely starving, which is such a mood. Vera is there to keep him grounded, but Cloud is acting delusional, thinking ordinary wood is food because his hunger is taking over his entire brain. Cloud is on a desperate hunt for anything edible, trusting his gut instincts even though they almost get him poisoned. He completely ignores Vera warning him about the danger, which is classic behavior for him. They stumble upon a field of cappies, and Cloud immediately thinks about food, proving that his survival instincts are chaotic at best. Cloud gets himself into a messy situation with a monster that tries to roast him alive. Vera has to step in and save him because he clearly cannot handle himself alone. A new monster shows up and actually saves Cloud, leading to a frantic escape sequence where Cloud realizes he was literally on the dinner menu for a giant fork monster. After the chaos, they realize the creature they saved, which they decide to name Nanners, is actually following them. Cloud is convinced he can understand what the creature is saying, while Vera thinks he is just making things up. They decide to take the creature back to the hub, officially adopting it into their chaotic little found family. The duo returns to Hananis to turn in their request, and Cloud tries to flex about using high-quality bait to catch the monster, conveniently leaving out that he was the bait. They try to register Nanners, but the guild receptionist is asleep on the job, forcing them to wait around while Cloud contemplates eating the new pet. A massive crowd gathers because everyone is losing their minds over Nanners being a monsterling. Apparently, taming one of these things usually takes a decade, but Cloud did it instantly with zero effort. It turns out Nanners has a bottomless stomach and special saliva, which is a weird flex but definitely useful for their future adventures. The guild receptionist offers them a questionable quest to deal with aggressive cappies attacking travelers. The pay is absolutely terrible, only 100 gold, but Cloud accepts it anyway because he is bad at math and negotiation. Vera tries to talk some sense into him, but his main character energy is too strong to be stopped. While exploring, they find a super sketchy seed that seems to be the source of the corruption making the monsters act crazy. Nanners decides to swallow the evil seed whole, which freaks everyone out. They also spot a suspicious person lurking around, suggesting that someone is planting these seeds on purpose to cause chaos in the ecosystem. They encounter a massive cappy mama that has clearly been corrupted by the dark seeds. The battle is intense, and Cloud has to lock in to defeat it without actually killing it. After the fight, the monster coughs up the seed, confirming their theory, but the mysterious hooded figure manages to ghost them before they can get answers. Back at the guild, they try to report the suspicious seeds, but the receptionist is giving them a hard time about needing more proof. Suddenly, Aylia steps in with her massive sword and intimidation tactics to back them up. Cloud is immediately starstruck by her presence, while Vera is just relieved someone with actual authority is helping them out. Cloud and Vera chase after Aylia to fangirl a little bit, but she is incredibly cold and dismissive. She insists she is heading north on her own business and refuses to team up. However, Cloud and Vera realize she is terrible with directions and decides to follow her anyway, knowing she is definitely going to get lost without them. Hi there! If you want to enjoy more gaming lore without grinding for 60 hours, hit that subscribe button. I do the grinding so you don't have to. Your support really helps the channel. It becomes painfully obvious that Aylia is completely lost, even though she refuses to admit it to save face. Cloud calls her out on her terrible sense of direction, and they strike a deal to help her get into the restricted elf forest if she helps them catch the culprit, spreading the seeds. Aylia reluctantly agrees to the temporary alliance. A little slime leads them to a massive black puddle where a king slime has been corrupted. Cloud is convinced he can communicate with the slime, and honestly, he might be right. The corruption is turning the environment toxic, and they realize they have to fight the king slime to save it from the influence of the evil seeds. The battle against the corrupted king slime is intense, with the creature using fire and ice attacks. Aylia questions if they can actually save it, but Cloud is determined to try. After a hard fight, Cloud manages to cut the corruption out of the slime without killing it, proving his skills are actually legitimate despite his goofy personality. After saving the king slime, Cloud creates a psychic bond with it, and they basically become best friends instantly. Aylia is confused by Cloud talking to a slime, but she decides to just roll with it. They decide to head to Breezeville to rest, completely unaware that they are walking straight into another disaster waiting to happen. They arrive near Breezeville only to find a frantic villager screaming about a goblin invasion. Aylia immediately jumps into hero mode because she cannot ignore people in trouble. They rush to the scene and realize the goblins are also corrupted by the same red eyes as the other monsters, confirming the seeds are spreading rapidly. The town is literally on fire, and the team splits up to save the villagers. Cloud uses his water abilities to put out the flames while fighting off waves of goblins. They manage to rescue the mayor, who is more concerned about his town being ruined than grateful for being saved, which is honestly very ungrateful behavior. After saving the town, Aylia tries to leave immediately because she is obsessed with finding her brother in the north. However, she snaps at Cloud and Vera when they ask about it, revealing she is carrying a lot of emotional baggage. She eventually apologizes for her outburst, showing that beneath the armor she is actually really stressed out. They discover a massive goblin camp nearby that is fully corrupted by the dark seeds. Aylia decides to go on a solo suicide mission to distract them, claiming it is her duty as a knight. Cloud and Vera think this is a terrible idea and decide to back her up because friends do not let friends die alone. The team engages in a massive brawl with the goblin army, using everything they have to push back the horde. Cloud and Aylia show off some serious combat synergy, wiping out wave after wave of enemies. It is a total chaotic mess, but they manage to clear the area and prove they are a force to be reckoned with. Back at the hub, the branch master finally shows up and tells them to go find a specialist named Francis to analyze the seed. He warns them that Francis is extremely weird, which is a massive understatement. They rush off to find her, hoping she can give them some answers about what is actually happening to the world. Francis turns out to be incredibly eccentric and immediately starts flirting with everyone. She analyzes the seed and reveals it is not from their world and contains dangerous void energy. She explains that they need to wake up an ancient guardian named Kustos to fix the corruption, sending them on a new quest to the White Wolf territory. During their mission, they run into a remarkably intelligent goblin who offers to help them take down the goblin leader. Aylia is super suspicious, but Cloud finds the goblin hilarious and decides to trust him. They sneak into the enemy camp using the goblin's inside information, proving that sometimes trusting random strangers actually works out. They confront the goblin leader in the center of the camp. The battle is fierce, but with their combined strength, they manage to take him down. Afterward, they light a flare to signal the rest of the adventurers to clean up the remaining forces, successfully saving Breezeville from total destruction and securing a massive victory. Cloud is feeling himself after the battle, claiming he is getting stronger every day. They loot the area and find more evidence of the seeds being planted intentionally. The team realizes this conspiracy goes way deeper than just random monster attacks, and they are now fully invested in hunting down the person responsible for this mess. Back with Frances, she explains that humans and intelligent beings are more resistant to the corruption, which is why they have not gone crazy yet. However, she insists on joining them to find Custos because she wants to see the white wolves. Aylia is not thrilled about babysitting her, but they have no choice if they want to succeed. On the way to the White Wolf territory, they get stopped by bandits demanding a toll. It is a classic robbery attempt, but Cloud and the team absolutely demolish them. It is almost embarrassing for the bandits, who clearly picked the wrong group of main characters to mess with on this particular day. They meet a white wolf named Height, who is fleeing from his own pack. He explains that the pack has turned on each other due to the corruption. Height is not a fighter, but he agrees to guide them to the pack's territory, hoping they can save his friends from the madness consuming them. They run into the suspicious guy from before, who is trying to steal the seeds from the corrupted wolves. He claims the seeds are his property, which is a major red flag. They beat him up and realize he is just a greedy thief working for someone else, adding another layer to the mystery. The team confronts the corrupted wolves, who are too proud to accept help from outsiders. Aylia gives them a harsh reality check about honor versus survival. They realize the wolves ate corrupted meat, which caused the madness. They decide to knock the wolves out with sleeping gas instead of killing them, which is a surprisingly non-violent solution. After knocking out the pack, Frances uses local flowers to create a cure for the corruption. She heals the wolves, proving she is actually a competent doctor despite her weird personality. Height is relieved to see his friends recovering, and the team prepares to face the pack leader, Lupe, who is fully corrupted and holding the key they need. They face off against Lupe, the mighty warrior of the pack. He is fighting the corruption with pure willpower, but knows he is losing control. He asks them to defeat him, to prove they are worthy of the key. The fight is emotional and intense, but they manage to subdue him and claim the key to the forest. On their way back, they finally corner the thief who was spreading the seeds. It turns out he is a fellow adventurer doing it for money, which absolutely disgusts Aylia and the team. They capture him and drag him back to the guild to face justice, proving that greed is the real villain of this story. With the key in hand, they head to the Natura monastery to wake up Custos. The journey is treacherous, and the monastery is in ruins, which is a bad sign. They fight through corrupted guardians and explore the ancient site, hoping that the Warden of Nature is still intact and ready to help them save the world. They arrive at the seal only to find it shattered. It looks like something massive broke out from the inside. They realize that Custos might have been corrupted long before they arrived. The vibes in the monastery are absolutely haunted, and Nanners is shaking with fear, which warns them that something terrible is waiting for them. They find Custos, but instead of a benevolent guardian, it is a corrupted monster that attacks them immediately. They have no choice but to fight back. In a tragic turn of events, they end up destroying the very deity they came to save. It is a massive failure, and the team is left wondering what to do next. Back at the guild, they awkwardly explain that they killed the guardian deity. The branch master takes it surprisingly well and reassigns them to support the Solar Knights at Mount Prelium. Aylia leaves to report to the capital, while Cloud and Vera head to the mountains to meet up with the elite Knight Brigade. They arrive at the mountain and immediately run into huge explosions. They meet Verna and Flare, two knights who are absolutely chaotic. Flare is a pyromaniac who loves burning things, while Verna tries to keep her in check. They are hunting cultists, and despite some initial friction, they decide to team up. They track the cultists to a hidden location and witness them using void magic. The knights want to burn them immediately, but Cloud suggests capturing them for information. They confront the cultists, who claim to be part of a feline order and not evil, leading to a confusing standoff where everyone is just yelling at each other. They chase the cultists to an inn, where they discover that the maid working there is actually the former commander of the knights, Esther. Verna and Flare are shocked to see their legendary boss serving tea. Esther tries to play it cool, but her cover is completely blown. The reunion is cut short when orcs attack the town. The orcs are specifically targeting men, kidnapping the innkeeper and one of the cultists. It turns out the cultists are actually void followers trying to summon a dark entity. The team realizes the situation is way worse than they thought. Esther reveals her true power and takes command, showing why she was the legendary leader of the brigade. They track the orcs and void followers to Port Vellum, where they find a massive void tree. The cultists are preparing a ritual to break the seal on the void. The team fights through waves of enemies, realizing that the cultists are sacrificing people to power up the ritual. It is a race against time to stop them. The cult leader summons a massive void entity, using the kidnapped men as vessels. The monster is terrifyingly powerful, and the team realizes they are outmatched. They manage to hold their ground, but the entity is too strong. The villain decides to retreat to a more suitable location, leaving the team alive but shaken by the encounter. Esther orders Verna and the others to retreat and recover, but they refuse to leave her side. They deduce the villains are heading to the feline order's holy site to break the final seal. The team rallies together, determined to stop the ritual before the void consumes the entire world. On the way to the holy site, they encounter Shelly-manders that are acting strange. Cloud realizes the monsters are scared, not aggressive. They find a void sprout and destroy it, confirming the villains passed through here. They also save some local kids who were being corrupted by cursed toys, which is pure nightmare fuel. They perform a purification ritual on one of the cultists who was brainwashed. He reveals that the leader is planning to sacrifice the entire town to open the void gate. The team rushes to the holy site, fighting through hordes of void creatures. They are the only thing standing between the world and total annihilation. They reach the final altar where the seal is breaking. The void energy is overwhelming, but the team pushes forward. Esther, Verna, Flare, Cloud, and Vera launch an all-out assault on the cult leader and his void monsters. It is a spectacular battle with magic and steel flying everywhere. In the final confrontation, the team disrupts the ritual and damages the void vessel. The villain, realizing his plan is falling apart, mocks them one last time before escaping. The seal is damaged but holds for now. The team celebrates their victory, knowing the war is not over, but they have bought the world a little more time. Gaming lore is long and confusing, but I break it down every week. Subscribe so you never miss a plot twist or hidden detail. Thanks for watching.